Hi, today we're going to be continuing our study of ecology by addressing ecological succession, how one ecosystem or environment can develop into a completely new ecosystem or environment over a long period of time. But first, as always, I want you to check in for your daily attendance. And then we'll begin. When viewing my PowerPoints, I want you to always click View, Show Speakers Notes. I have a few notes that supplement the slides in there. You should have already reviewed this notes PowerPoint document. So what is ecological succession? Well, in ecological succession, we're going to define it, and we're going to talk about some important bullet points, some important parts of ecological succession. We'll talk about primary succession, secondary succession, pond succession, and then wrap it up with primary versus secondary succession. In today's lecture, we're going to be going through slides 1 through 11 of this PowerPoint, and then we'll be continuing onwards from there tomorrow. So what is ecological succession? Well, the definition is natural or gradual changes in the types of species that live in an area. And like I said, this can be primary or secondary ecological succession. We'll touch on that later. But it's just the gradual replacement of one plant community by another through natural processes over time. It can take a long time. Let's start by going over primary succession. Primary succession occurs in places without any soil, without any dirt, usually on bare rock, sides of volcanoes. After landslides have wiped the environment clean, they've wiped the trees, the soil, the grass out, or flooded areas which have removed all of the living and soil. And what usually starts in primary succession is the arrival of lichens or fungus, because they don't need soil to survive. And this fungus is called pioneer species, right? Pioneer because they're the first ones there. Let's answer this question. What is the name given to lichen or algae after primary succession? Choice 1, pioneer species. Choice 2, volunteer species. Choice 3, founder species. Or choice 4, conqueror species. The correct answer is pioneer species. They're the first ones there to arrive. They don't need soil to survive. In primary succession, we can see how a sand dune could eventually turn into a forest. You really never know which way your environment's going to change. Just like animals in evolution, there's not necessarily a direction. The direction just meets the course that nature provides and what best suits the conditions. In going over the steps of primary succession, like we said, soil starts to form as these lichens and the forces of weather and erosion break down rocks. Erosion just being forces that are constantly beating at rocks. Could be wind, water, landslides. But this erosion is breaking down rocks into smaller pieces and helping to form soil. And then when these lichens die, they decompose and they add small amounts of organic or living matter material to the rocks, and this helps develop the sediment into soil. Moving on in primary succession, simple plants like mosses and ferns ferns can grow in that new soil. As we move along, the simple plants will thrive for a while, but eventually they will die. And that adds more organic or living material to the soil, more nutrients for later plants to utilize. This thickens the soil layer, and grasses, wildflowers, and other plants begin to grow. They begin to take over. And now we go another step further. These plants, the wildflowers, grasses, they begin to die as well, and they add more nutrients to the soil. See, it's a stepping process. Now we're getting into a little bit bigger plants. We have shrubs and small trees. They can now survive because the environment allows it. There's nutrients in the soil that allow them to grow bigger. And where there are plants, usually animals will move in. Insects, small birds, and mammals begin to move into the environment. What was once just bare rock with no soil now has soil and supports a large variety of life, both animal and plants. We're going to end our short lecture today with this question. The process by which a new community forms where no community lived before is choice 1, resource, choice 2, invasive non-native species, choice 3, primary succession, or choice 4, competition. And take a look at this picture to help you out. We start with bare rock. Mosses and lichens grow and form soil when they die. Soil develops, then grasses and small plants grow. Soil thickens and smaller shrubs grow. Then we end with larger trees start to grow. The correct answer, you're right, is primary succession. Right here. Primary succession is the succession where life is introduced, begins to grow where life did not exist before. And this ends our lesson. I will see you tomorrow.